Come with us on this journey. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fine episode of Midwest Real, a podcast where we talk about making films and cheese.
And today's episode is brought to you by The Humble Goat. Because why? Because we're humble goats.
Goats are humble.
We do talk about cheese.
So it's goat cheese. Do you like goat cheese?
Actually, it's delicious. Put it on a cracker with a little bit of jam.
Oh, wow. So I thought I was in the minority of people who like goat cheese.
Oh, no. We even have goat milk up in the fridge.
Munster, Gouda,
Really?
Havarti. I love my cheese, being a good Wisconsin farm boy that I am.
Do you eat blue cheese?
I'm not as big a fan of blue cheese.
Okay.
I blue cheese once, but I shouldn't.
It's a good thing I'm editing so I can take that
I
out.
shouldn't have eaten so much.
What's that famous deli over in Monroe?
Baumgartner's.
Right.
Yeah, the Limburger sandwich.
Rich, so we went there, Tracy and I, and she had the sandwich, and no lie, I had to sit at the other booth. I would not sit with her. Not because I was embarrassed or anything, but because of the smell. She loves that stuff. And I just was like, yeah, I can't.
So I also did the Limburger sandwich just because Linda and I were there, and I was like, I need to do this because, the test of my manhood or whatever. And I was able to finish the thing, but it was not easy. I had to wash it down liberally with a lot of New Glarus beer.
Oh, I'm impressed.
I would have never gotten it down if it wasn't for that.
That's insane. I'm impressed.
I'm glad Tracy likes it because
Somebody's got to eat it.
yeah, but I did it and I finished it.
And your manhood is intact.
It is. Today I am a man.
So the last couple of episodes, we've been talking to some of the actors that have been in our films, getting their perspective, what it's like to be on camera as opposed to on stage, what they bring to it. How do you feel about all that, what we've been talking with them about?
Well, it is fascinating to hear how they approach it. I mean, Tim and Taylor and Bernie definitely had some different ideas about approaching it. And I mean, there's a lot of people who say there's really no difference in how they approach it, and others say they take a very different view of it. So everybody's different and whatever works best for them. So I enjoyed hearing what each one of them had to say.
Agreed. And so today I want to talk about shooting a short film on a budget, on a shoestring, which we obviously do. What was our budget for our last one? Do you remember?
I think what we officially put on IMDb was $400 was our budget.
Which was mostly for food, because we called in a lot of favors. Obviously, the actors work for us. We try to locate locations where we can shoot easily without having to pay. All the camera gear I already have in existence, so that makes it easier. But what do you find then, as being an actor and a writer, a stage and film, what do you find about how the budget can limit what we're doing?
I mean, if money is no object, I mean, you can pay to rent places and you can, pay actors, you can, buy props that you specifically need. And a lot of do-it-yourself filmmaking on the scale that we do is a lot of beg, borrow, and steal.
Right.
I mean, fortunately, we have enough friends in the acting community that just love the concept and the idea of doing films like this, that they're able to, do this for free for us.
Right.
Or people who will donate their time or loan us props or let us use their place, let us climb on their roof and,
That's right.
go into their warehouse, things like that.
Which
So-
you're referencing the scenes when you're looking down that ladder at Office Pro down in Beloit, when we use that for that one quick scene where it looks like you're looking from the garden down, and that's where we shot that. Right.
Yeah. So when you're on this scale, of local filmmaking, I mean, you're really, to paraphrase A Streetcar Named Desire, you're kind of relying on the kindness of strangers sometimes.
And even with that low budget of $400, we did have to build some props. The hatch, if you will, for that you're looking into for space between. I built all that, which was not that expensive. It's going to be interesting to see what we do now for our next short films coming up, because a lot of those props we're going to have to beg, borrow, and steal, as you said, because it's going to be in sort of it takes place in sort of like three different times: an apocalyptic future, the present, but there are going to be guns involved. Right. So, we're going to have to figure out that aspect. So, but what other components of low budget do you feel inhibits, do you think that does it inhibit your writing when you're writing a script?
It doesn't, because I don't think about that. When I'm writing something, I just write what I want to see. And then, and maybe some people would look at that as backwards. But I like to, dream big first and then see if we can do it.
Right.
I mean, we were really fortunate with meeting Dad that the folks at Edgerton Hospital were nice enough to let us use a room. I mean, they let us use a room and a bed and equipment, for the better part of a morning.
Right.
And, we were able to shoot the hospital scenes in there. And that was really, really kind of them to let us do that and trust us with that.
Which obviously made it more realistic because we didn't have to sort of fake it with close-up shots and a sound effect of the EKG machine in the background. We could actually literally show it, which would be nice. So that's going to be the challenge for the next one, because how are we going to shoot in homes that look like they're abandoned or run down, because we don't have anything like that?
I mean, we've been kind of scouting out properties that we could potentially use, and actually going on the Rock County property tax database to see who owns them, to see if we can get permission to go in there,
Right,
and use them. And we haven't pursued this yet, but there's probably going to be people who will want us to sign some sort of waivers that if we go in their
Good point.
dilapidated properties, that we won't sue them if we get hurt.
If we fall through the floor,
Fall
floor.
through the floor or whatever. So, I mean, there's things like that will come into play potentially.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about what you said too is when we start off writing these things, we kind of write what we want to see, and then we kind of bring it down to our scope. Because obviously then I think even the first draft of some of the newer stuff that we've been working on has been, okay, that's really nice, but I don't know how we're going to do that. So, which brings me to, there's going to be a couple scenes where we may not be able to get. What's your thoughts on the fact that we might have to rely on a few AI shots to get some sort of a street scene, perhaps, of a whole bunch of dilapidated houses or a rundown community?
AI is a slippery slope right now. I see a purpose for it and I see uses for it, but it shouldn't be your main creative tool.
Correct.
Can it fill in some gaps? Yeah. I mean, if you've got shots of somebody wearing a wedding ring and he's not supposed to be wearing a wedding ring, and you can use AI to remove that, I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
Just another case in point. So The Magnificent Ambersons, fantastic film by Orson Welles, but it was butchered up by the studio, and there's 20 minutes of footage that's gone and didn't get saved and everything. And somebody is trying to recreate that from Welles's shooting script, and they're going to use AI to recreate the scenes that were cut and lost forever.
Okay.
That I'm okay with, just because of the historical nature of it. But doing something like, now there's songs on the radio that, number one on streaming that are completely AI generated.
Yeah.
And I'm really not a fan of that, of losing the human touch creative. I mean, I could see it being used by us in a limited way
Okay.
to do scenes that we can't do otherwise, that
Right.
we really need to do. But I mean, we would never just AI create
The whole thing from A
actors
to Z.
things
No.
like that.
Agreed 100%.
I mean, I think there's a use for it, but it can't become your whole creative process.
Right. I agree. And see, for me, I feel like AI is kind of leveled the playing field, because for some of those shots that I want to do with those, like, a drone shot over a street of just burned out houses would cost first of all, to find that location, to actually film that would probably cost thousands of dollars. Whereas we can, a 6-second, 5-second shot, use AI to establish something. I think as long as it sort of helps the story, and it, like I said, it levels the playing field, because we're able to do something for $400
Yeah.
and still incorporate those kind of scenes. But I agree with you. It should not replace the actors. It should not replace the writing. The writing comes, I mean, do I run something through for a spell check or something like that, or a quick little analysis? I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as it's not taking away the human element of what we're putting into it and the soul, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. And I think, there's an argument to be made that us using AI on a small scale is no different than, all these Marvel movies using, CGI for,
That's a good point.
just about everything.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, you can make that argument as well, that we're not doing anything that isn't done by, multi-million dollar blockbuster films.
To finish the subject of shooting on a shoestring, what kind of advice as the producer now would you talk to other people about who want to do a short film?
When we think of the creative process, we think of the creative process as actually coming up with the ideas and writing the script and writing the dialogue and all that. But sometimes you have to be even more creative in figuring out how you're going to bring that vision to, to the frame, to the screen. It's kind of like, taking a stage play and figuring out how you're going to direct it on stage, what the set's going to look like, I've got this kind of budget. What can I build for a set? Filmmaking is kind of like that. I've got this budget. I've got access to these resources. What can I do? And it kind of forces you to be creative and to figure out, how can I make this look like this?
Right.
I mean, there's a fascinating, and I love Orson Welles, and that's why I reference Welles a lot. But there's a fascinating story about Welles' film Othello, which he does a fantastic film version of Othello. And there's a scene that takes place in a Turkish bath, there where everybody's just wearing towels. And the reason for that is because the costumes never arrived. And he needed to shoot the scene. And so he just said, to hell with it, we'll put the scene in a Turkish bath. And he did it, and it works, and nobody thought
anything otherwise.
Anything of it.
Interesting. So so he kind of like rolled with it, which is what we do in the short films. You kind of just have to roll. That happened to us with one of our sets that we wanted to shoot in for a location for Space Between. We ended up having to go somewhere in Beloit, and it was literally the day before.
Yep.
So interesting.
So sometimes you just have to punt and make the most of it. And sometimes it works out very well when you do that. Next time, we will talk about the Wisconsin factor in filmmaking, because there are definite advantages to shooting here in southern Wisconsin, and we will talk about how that plays into our filmmaking. All right, I'm Jim. This is Robert, and we'll see you next time on Midwest Reel. And don't forget, eat some goat cheese. Come with us on this journey.